What's up and welcome to Nacho's Cafe. This is your boy Will, aka Nacho, and today is Talk About It Tuesday, where me and a guest will sit and talk about it, whatever it is, and that's what we'll be talking about. You ready?
But I'm gonna give you a leave of absence.
Yeah.
And she said, "You do what you need to do." And I said, "Well," and I started at. She's like, "Shane." She was like, "You do what you need to do, not what I want you to do. What I, it doesn't matter what anybody else. It only matters what you."
Yes.
And I was just like, "Okay, I'll go to rehab."
Yeah.
Because I figured that was the,
Yeah.
But rehab, I'm like, so yeah, I went to rehab, but then it was just the exact same thing over, and it was just like, and I knew I needed something different. Like, what is Einstein's definition of insanity? It was like doing something over and over and expecting different results. Like, at this point, I've been in rehab like a few times. Like,
Yeah.
and it was just, now I was just like, this is stupid. Like,
Mm-hmm. It's not working.
So I was talking to one of the therapists, and then she told me about EMDR therapy, and Google that. Like,
okay.
eye movement dissociative risk.
They just got a name for it.
I know, like it's a trauma-based therapy program, and
Okay.
what it basically does is like restores your self-worth. And so I learned, and like I had picked. I had found a place here in Phoenix that I wanted to come to because I figured, I'll see everybody.
Yeah.
But then, like, the counselor, like, lied to me and all this. It was just this weird shit show. And then, like, he ended up pointing me out to this sister organization in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, they have EMDR, we'll fly you out. And I said, okay, perfect. So I jump on a plane and I fly to the other end of the country. And I get to this rehab facility. And, like, I'm like, okay, so when does the EMDR start? And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, EMDR, and she was like, we don't do that. I was like, what? And so, like, they ended up milking my insurance. They held me there for 3 weeks, and they kept prolonging it and saying that they were going to do it. And I was just like, and I finally went in and I said, I need to know right now. Like,
Right.
And then they said, okay, well, we'll graduate you at OP, but you're going to have to find your own EMDR therapist.
All that time.
Oh, I was, oh my God. Like, I made a scene that day.
I would too.
But I got my fucking phone. And I made some phone calls, and I found a different, it was like this, it was a residential place, but like there was more IOP, and like I talked to them, and they were like, yeah, we'll take you, and but by this point, my insurance had cut me off, and they were not paying, but then they scholarshiped me, and we won't make you pay. Like, we understand what just happened.
Yeah.
That sucks. And then they introduced me to Melissa, who was my EMDR therapist.
Uh-huh.
And she was a completely separate thing. This woman is like I don't know, like, it's hard to explain the connection that her and I have. Like, and my first day with her, like, this woman charges $275 an hour. And like, she's got 2 masters, and like she's got all these degrees. And after that first, she said, she's like, I'm not going to charge you. She was like, because I've got something to learn from you. And I was like, like, really?
Right.
And we worked together, like, and we didn't even actually do EMDR, like, but she helped me identify, one of our biggest things is like feeling what emotions and, what triggers an emotion, and having a good understanding of why that's happening, and and how it plays out in our everyday life. And like, she's the one woman that has ever been able to fully understand me, or that I could communicate with, and she knew what I was saying. And like, the connection that her and I made, like, it was a year later, and we hadn't spoken or anything, and like, I was really stressed out and some of the crazy, I forget what I was doing, like, but she texted me and said, I can feel your nervous energy right now. What's going on? I was like, oh.
Like, how you know? Why are you watching me?
Yeah. So it was, I love her.
Wow. Finally. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then, I made it almost 2 years. Completely sober. That's the longest I'd ever gone.
Yeah.
No weed, nothing.
Yeah.
And then my job got shut down because, like, the owner was embezzling.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the week after, they told me that I had rheumatoid arthritis, and then the week after that, I had the beginning stages of emphysema, and then the week after that, it was like, oh, you're cancer getting bad. I was like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah. When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it was an emotional overload.
Yeah.
You know? And so what did I do? I smoked some meth. I love meth. No.
Escape.
But see, that's the thing. It's like meth for me does one thing and one thing only. Mm-hmm. Is it shuts off those emotions. It turns off that overthinking, just that crazy, and I'm someone who feels everything. All around me, and it
almost like an empath.
Yeah. I feel like there's an empath, and then there I am. Empath! Yeah. I don't have to be in the presence of someone. And it's like, with everything that's happening today. Walk in the street and just start crying. And it's like, stop. And that. Okay, so this is the relapse that, changed everything.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of self-realization, because not only was I living by myself, then quarantine happened, and it was just this whole
yeah.
I was stuck in solitude, and and that's all I had to do was think.
Yeah.
Garden.
Yeah. Wow. Seriously though, that's
and see, all right, a little bit we had to talk about this, because when you hear I smoked some meth, what's I don't need to ask what your thought is, because I know what people automatically assume that.
Oh, it's not too drug addict.
I know.
Do not affiliate with that.
But my reality is that I smoked some meth. It's just fun to say. And I gardened, and I crafted. My hot glue gun was my best friend. I understand that in the gay scene, it's a party drug, and and it is very, it's no secret that I'm not liked in that party scene at all. Because when it comes to meth in particular, how you react to it, what we all seem to think is that your first time using is whatever that environment was, whatever your intentions behind, using were, is that's the correlation that's going to be made from that point forward. It was a survival tool for me. And I was using with straight people. We had a garage.
Yeah.
We had tools. We tinkered. And I didn't know the gay sex thing was a thing until 10 years later. And so, invite these little, and I'm always asked to leave. You need to go. Okay, I get it.
Oh, that means leave. Oh, okay. We shared something.
My goofy personality is not liked. But no, at the same time, I was high on meth, and I came across this 18-year-old who had been a part of the DFS system his entire life, and DFS kids, they're in that system, and then they turn 18, and then they're released and said, there you go. And then what? But they've had no guidance whatsoever, no direction, and expected just to survive and to prevail from that. And it's no, but I gave him his first job as a dog walker. Having been homeless and that couch surfer, anytime I ever came across, somebody on Grindr who needed, if you were homeless, and I figured that out, because I can, my intuition's really on point. And, my thing is you get 2 days. You can eat, sleep, but there will be no drugs.
Yeah.
There will be no sex. Yeah. There is nothing. You get to stay here and revamp. Breathe.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about doing anything for me other than taking care of yourself. During my times of being homeless, and encountering all those that I did, hundreds and probably thousands of individuals, I can count on one hand the people who offered help with zero expectations. And if it weren't for them, I would have never seen that light or had something to focus on or had that reminder that, oh, good people do exist.
Right.
There is a different side to this.
Yeah, there is.
And it was that ever allowed me to keep going. Like, and so now, like, I do live each day paying forward, you know, those little moments. And, you know, and while I'm doing this, like, you know, I'm got my own, like, I can't tell everyone what's happening because I'm automatically like this horrible, god awful person that's like, you know, unworthy and acceptable. But bitch, I'm probably doing more good things with my life when I'm high on meth than you are not high on meth. So, what the fuck? God. And, you know, and like, and then I kept thinking about that. Like, and then I was in my garden pulling weeds, and then it just kind of like dawned on me that, like, you know, where I society has told me how horrible it is that I'm doing this, how horrible I should feel because of this, you know, and then I kept thinking, for what reason? Like, why? Because, you know, when you go to these meetings and you go to AA and stuff like that, like, you know, you set yourself, like, okay, first of all, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from doing this. Like, if, you know, this is my own lived experience. Like, this is not to be compared to anybody else. Like,
right.
But to affirm, like, they just tell you how bad it is, and you were made to believe, and then you count days, and then you set yourself up, and it's like, you know, you're hyped up, oh, you're doing so good, and then it's like, you know, relapses are typically inevitable. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, and you need to prepare for that. Like, and then it happens, and it's the shame and the guilt that, and the pressures of society that add on this 10,000 pound weight. Like, you know, not only are you dealing with, you know, your own internal struggles, and like you're getting high, and like, and see, and that's the one thing I always say is, like, addicts use to cover up the pain brought on by using. And that is, you know, the shame and the guilt.
The shame, yeah.
The shame and the guilt. It's the, you know, and talking to a lot of people, you know, and, you know, that guy that's screaming and yelling and pissed off, and it's like, he's pissed off because he's being treated like shit for no reason. You know, society is like just putting him down, not even knowing or taking the time to think about, okay, who are you really?
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares because there's a stigma, you know, fucking stigmas.
Of course, yes.
Just like everything, you know.
Planted.
Yeah. And, you know, we're told to believe that, you know, just have this mindset that, you know, drugs are bad.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, you know, drugs aren't great, but at the same time, what people don't know is, like, once again, I'm not condoning or encouraging any drug use whatsoever, because we're all different, you know, and it really does, how it reacts to us is just how it reacts. Yeah, like, we have no control of that part. But, I mean, I have met people who got themselves through Harvard Law, you know, high on meth.
Yeah.
In Texas, I smoked meth with an anesthesiologist who was on a break from work.
Yeah.
Like, the reality of it is like, you know, those, you know, these crazy tweaker videos that you see online, you know, that's a small percentage of what is. Like,
but again, that's the stigma that the society is creating, because they want to make sure, this it leads to suicide, or it leads to death, or it leads to someone killing somebody. We're conditioned, as you said before. We're conditioned to judge and see things only one way only, not, well, what is this doing and what did it create? I mean, you know, what was it, Donald Duck? Donald Duck was created. You know, I was, you know, like, it's created from, like, all of those in particular, like, you know, Cyril, I forgot who it was too, because I don't know if it was Goofy. Anyway, but I'm going way off. But I mean, again, like I said, there's two sides to every story in everything. You know, because a lot of us like to think in some ways where that is only this is good, but that's bad, and you have to understand that both exist. And when you know that and you try to understand that, it causes an effect of you not being so judgmental and just coming to, like, I like to use myself as an example, where it's like, wow, I'm enlightened now because I've seen this so much in the dark light, in the negative way, all what they try to condition us. Like, I know there's another way, and I don't want to be judged. I don't think, like you said, I'm not trying to encourage everyone to do this, but everyone has their own effect of when they do it. And for you, it brought something good. Like you said earlier, you're like, I'm actually thankful that I did it because I probably wanted to find myself. You probably wanted to have been gardening.
Knowing what I've done for the community and the voice that I have and the connections that I've been able to make, and the things that I've been able to do for people, like, that all comes from my drug use.
Yeah.
Like, my entire life I allowed myself to be conditioned to believe that, it was bad and what I was doing was wrong and there was nothing good that would come from it. Mm-hmm. Well, after 20 years, a long time, and I'm not saying I'm gonna go smoke a bunch of meth and be like hunky-dory. No, I'm just saying that, like, to finally realize that, like, I'm as strong as I am because I have survived all that. Like, I'm as smart as I am because I had to use my own intellect. I had to figure things out. My survival skills, they gradually get bigger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you really want to go into that, but like we were talking about earlier.
No limit.
Cognition,
yeah.
and street smarts. How street smarts is not talked about, and nobody is fully aware of what that looks like, and to be cognitively aware, like, most people don't even really understand what that means. It's like for me, standing here right now, like I can be looking at you and talking to you, but at the same time, I'm consciously aware of what your body's doing, what emotions you're giving off, and what all that means. And it's super intense. And but how do you become more street smart? What does that look like? So like, you're in one place and then you move to a new location. What do? You adapt.
Yeah. Yes.
You have to open your mind, broaden your mind, take in new information, and it's new people, new emotion, like, and it's, you get smarter, more,
And that is exactly street smart.
Yeah, and, and when it comes to human emotion, like, when you encounter so much of it, you begin to recognize patterns.
This is true.
Patterns that show intentions. And so, you get to a point where you can't be manipulated. Like, I know what you're doing. Stop it. And then they don't listen.
I'm there. I'm like, oh no, you're really trying.
I know. Bitch, you stupid.
I got a book for you. Here we go.
I know. Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what you were doing. Yeah. And you're chapter 1, not even deep in. Okay.
And you can start and tell them, like, I know what you're doing right now, right. And like and they, and then they try to do it anyway. It's
again, I say. It's already been done. I've done it. I wrote it.
So, yeah. I need to come out as smart.
Huh?
It's going to be my next coming out. I'm
really?
smart. I'm going to make a degree in life.
I love that. I feel like that can't be taught. It has to be learned, if that makes sense. You really have to go through some experiences to really, you have to be open to it. You can't go in it jaded. You can't going into it with expectations, because expectations, is the one thing I always say, leads to disappointment. Because you have a way of what you think it's supposed to look like, and when it shows up not looking like that way, number one, you're not going to want it. Number two, you're not going to receive it for being the gift that it could possibly be. And you're like, I'm so disappointed. It's not supposed to look like this way. Like, you could be expecting that your degree is going to look this way. It's going to give you the best job in the world. And what happens when you get this degree and you don't get that job? You're disappointed because you had this high expectation of it's supposed to feel this way, right, look this way, and be this way. And it was none of that. And now you just wasted that time, because of expectation versus going with the flow and allowing it to be what it is. Because when you're allowing it to be what it is, you gain so much more. It's like, I didn't think it was going to be this way, but I'm kind of glad it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. You learn something new. That means you open yourself up to not limiting yourself to learn and gain so much more wisdom.
Honestly, wisdom, strength, and courage, like, that's stuff that money can't buy. Like, that's just fucking priceless. Like,
they try to, but it's just
it's not. These people with all their, like, way more than you'll ever have, and like, you know what, and I'm better than you for that.
Yes.
Like, don't look down on me like, wait, what? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, being a survivor is, you know, very.
Yeah.
Wipe away everything right now. Who's gonna be there, you know, holding
And
your
you
hand,
are
wiping?
Yeah. You really are a survivor. You know, just following you and watching you from just a distance, you know, you really are a survivor. And you know, I like to think of myself as one too, in a different kind of form, of course. You know, but that's awesome. You know, it's like I know, like I've had people. My mom has told me that. You know, like you're sort of like, well, I'm not going to allow myself to struggle. I know what to do. I know what I'm gonna make myself do. Whether I'm uncomfortable for a moment, but the best things happen when you're uncomfortable.
Yes.
When you get comfortable, you don't succeed. But when you get uncomfortable, it works.
It works.
You know, the best things come out. You see what you're capable of.
Yeah.
You know, you really see your potential when
Take
it
yourself
comes
out of the
to
comfort zone.
Right. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
push through that fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people who let fear run their lives. Like,
yeah.
it's
And
so
I know
unfortunate.
it comes, but because I'm guilty of that too. You know, it's like because you think of the what if is also meaning fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, oh, what if this happens, and what, you know, just make it work. Just leave.
So what?
And go, yeah. Because like you watching you know, unpacking, I'm leaving, you know, and then you know, my garden, and you know, it's so. Question about your garden, like, what did it bring you?
Oh, everything. Like, I mean, and see, that's the way. Like, this last go around, like, to finally accept who I am and what I'm capable of and what that looks like, all because I picked up a dead plant on the side of the road. Like, that led into what I was able to create. Like, and what I was able to create was, you know, that was so much more than just like a little garden. Like, you know, and to like, that was all that I was. Like, and it showed through that. And like, I discovered that I'm artistic. Like, who knew? Like, you know, and it wasn't, you know, I wasn't able to, you know, validate that myself, but it was just everybody, you know, I just thought I was being my crazy, weird little random self and like just having fun. But then every single person's reaction that came over, you know, was just priceless.
Yeah.
And like, you know, inside my house and what I had done, like, you know, you can create energy, like, and to be, you know, finally be aware of that. Like,
Yes, so true. That's so true. I have to say that.
And I wish people knew more like that. Like, it's a simple concept. Like, a few inanimate objects, you know, placed together just right can create, you know, to create a vibe.
Yeah,
you know, a strong vibe, like a healing vibe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when it comes to, you know, for me, plants are the perfect representation of life. You know, and it's like, it's just a recycling of energy. That's it. Like, they're giving to me what I'm going to give to them, and it's just like this back and forth.
Right.
And to walk into my house, you know, and the reaction every time was, holy shit. And like, I mean, that's how I got my dog.
Yeah.
Like, was, you know, the individual swore to me that he wasn't high, that he wasn't, you know, and he walked in and he looked around. He was like, what the fuck is this? He was like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And I started laughing. And, oh, I know what's happening right now. And he just like, but it was it was a very comforting energy, and that's what was throwing him off. Like,
yeah.
And he just started talking, and he was like, "Why am I telling you this?" He was like, "Why am I telling you this?" He's like, "I don't know," and I was just like laughing.
You're like, I know why, but we're not gonna go there because that's gonna go beyond you.
Yeah, you know, just like, and I told him, you know, just have a seat. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, just let it all out. And he sat there for 2 hours, and just poured his little heart out, and like. And then just stopped, and he just like started crying, and he like gave me a hug and said, "Thank you for listening. You know, I'm gonna go rethink my life now." And then the next day to message me on Instagram and say they're getting ready to put this dog down. He's like, for some odd reason, like, I feel like you guys are meant for each other, and like, that dog is my other half. Like, that dog is everything that I am. And
I love dogs.
Yeah, like Buddha, you know. Yeah. But then for him to message me like a few months later saying that I picked up my 30-day chip. Like that.
Wow.
you know, just that brief moment to just listen to someone. Just listen. You know, people just want to be heard, you know? But that was a powerful moment. Like, that was big for me. You know, and I still keep in contact with him, actually.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
He keeps me up to date with everything, and he follows me. And so, you know, you just never know who, what, when, where. You know, we all are constantly, you know, we're all brought into each other's lives for a reason. No matter how short or long that time is, we all have something to gain from one another.
Yes.
Like, and gosh, and that's what we were talking about. Like, you know, and like, you know, it was literally a bunch of different little things that happened. And like, I had met this other individual who walked in my home, started just running around, pulling stuff out of the refrigerator, like ripped all his clothes off, and I was just like, oh shit. But I thought I didn't react. I just sat down on the couch and I watched him.
It's amazing how you stay
just cool, calm, and like, oh, okay, that's gonna get interesting. Like, and so I just let him do his thing for a minute, you know, and then it became a little, but then he hawked this big Luger and spit it on my closet, and I was like, okay. I was like, no, I mean, he was fucked up. Like, he was like fucked up. Like, and I was like, okay, you gotta go.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, you push that boundary, like.
Yeah.
And you know, he left. You know, but then the next day, you know, I'm walking Buddha, and like, I don't know, my gut was just like, text him. And so I text him, and I just said, I don't want to why, but I just feel like I should tell you that I love you. And that was all I said.
Yeah.
And his response was, I'm here in town for work. And he's like, I'm at work right now. He's like, why don't you come talk to me? And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, because, like, it's little moments like that. Like, that's life telling me, pay attention.
Yes.
Pay attention.
Yes.
You know? And so I took an Uber, and I went and saw him at work, and nothing could have prepared me for who I met and what he had to say. Like, who he was, you know, sober, you know, not all. What I know was the complete opposite of who I had met the night before. And we made the combination that nation and Buddhism, like, he spoke that language. And, like, he literally spoke to my soul. Like, he said every single thing that I needed to hear at that moment in time. That, like, I mean, we both were just sitting there crying because, like, and he spoke with such conviction and passion, and it was like I had no choice but to listen to him, and I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I remember getting back in that Uber to go back home, and he was like, how you doing? I said, I don't fucking know. I was like, I don't know what that was or what just happened. I was like, but I need a minute to, like, wrap my head around this.
Yeah.
And, like, you know,
take it all in.
Yeah.
That's good that someone could give you that, because you're the one who's been giving, you know, coming into my own environment and gaining something from it, creating some type of surrounding of a vibe, creating a vibe in your own home. And that's one thing that I like to pride myself with too, is like my home, I want someone to feel comfortable, and I love when I hear, like, I feel so like at home when I come into your place, and it's like good, because I'm a comfortable individual. And I like people to feel comfortable around me. And why not have my home be like inviting? Have a seat, take your seat. Like, I just feel so good right here. Yeah. Like, I can just see, like, well, you ain't staying here. You're visiting. You know, I am glad you feel comfortable, but don't go too comfortable. Get out. No, just kidding. But, you know, I like creating that, and it's sometimes it can be foreign when someone else gives you that. Just like how he just gives you like a whole nother level of wisdom that you gained.
Yeah. That day. Allowing yourself those opportunities.
Yes.
To know that.
Not closing yourself off.
Yeah.
Thanks to the plant that you saw dying on the sidewalk. It caused all of this.
There's
so much symbolicness on that, but we'll talk about that later, because I'm like, ooh, just gave me a poetry idea when you were like, like, I wanted to guess, like, maybe he does, I don't know, but that's huge. That was like a start or something. But anyway.
I don't know if I ever sent you the picture of like, I have a specific tree.
Yeah.
That I literally saw dead on the side of the road, and I had ridden my bike past it a few times, and I just kept saying, I don't know, like, I need to save that tree's life.
Yeah.
And so I, we ask a bunch of people like, can you help? Because I'm 35 years old and I've never bought a car, and I will never probably buy a car. But to get somebody to go help me get a dead tree, like, that's not something to be. You're crazy. Well, I know. But to be so determined, like I made the decision I was gonna do it, and like, it's like midnight, I'm on my bike, and I was just gonna drag that bitch home with some sheets. And like, I know. But then at that point in time, somebody driving a truck who knew me, but I did not know them, saying, "Hey, Shane," like, I was just like, "Oh," and then they got that. But then I believed in it, and like I put it in the ground, and that thing took off, and like these great big white flowers, like the symbol.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just wow.
It was I don't know that. I even told my neighbor behind. I was like, if anything, when I'm gone, make sure you take good care of that. Like that tree represents a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and so
yeah. You have to show me pictures of it. I'm sure you have some on Facebook.
Yeah.
But at least I know the story behind it. So that's the
Oh.
Yeah, I like because I just when you the way you describe that, it just like that hit me. It's like, I was like, there's something there,
We
and
can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's a hard thing to talk about. Like, because I mean, a lot of people don't understand. It takes a certain person to be able to understand that.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what I was like. I know you kind of dropped it, but you kept when you were talking like, okay. I was like, we have to go back to that because I don't know. There's something there for me. I was like, because I see huge things from the most smallest things. It's just like a little mustard seed, something for me to see. So when you said that, I was like, oh, that means yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry, guys. I keep going back to it. It's just
Because I mean that's there can be so. I mean that's represents so many different parts of life. So many different parts. Like just to.
Yeah.
And I mean, even I had this stump that like you can find beauty in just about anything. Like you just have to find it. You have to see it, believe in it. And like, to find this dead stump on the side of the road and thought, okay, I'm gonna utilize this for that, and that. Give it reason and purpose. I gave it purpose. It was just a fucking stump. The thing blew up and it was just a stump and it started branching out and growing. Like I love it. Like it was, and when I started seeing it grow, I was just like, the self-realization that came from picking up a stump all of a sudden, like
in a way, like it symbolizes you, and that when someone else says I love you, and I love you, Shane, I'm here for you. What do you need? It's just kind of like it's like a full circle, and then everything that you gain from the sources that you probably didn't realize was there genuinely given to you. You could talk about it now because now you see it, but it's like an evolution. It's like now I'm putting purpose, all of this that I've gained, and I'm just gonna throw it in here, and it's just and then it blossoms. So it's like a symbolization of your life.
Exactly, and the self-realization that came. I mean, that's the way that it all ended up piecing together. And then, like I said, just clicking. Like, did I realize my full potential and like what I'm capable of, and like what holy shit, like give myself a pat on the back. Like,
don't forget to do that.
No, I don't know. Like, and then to gain that insight and then be able to flip that perspective, to see that drug use as like a horrible bad thing, my entire life, like it's meant to destroy me, like, and then stop and think like, oh, well, my drug use made me kind of smart, and it made me a lot of friends, and it made me more like, it made me a lot of things that who I am, that, are attributes that people are drawn to, like, so I see that as a good thing. And then I finally saw a positive perspective. And it was that tiny bit of light that allowed me to focus on it and then say, oh, I'm not trying to destroy myself right now. I'm trying to better myself. So you can do that. It's okay. And then to make a decision, well, it's time to go. Let's get away from this awful place and let's go back home to Phoenix, and to like, and to, I don't know, like that, like, that was
not just a blessing how help was able for you to move on over so easy too. Because I remember you telling me, it's like, this is crazy. I was like, but now hearing everything, like today, just everything that you have said, it makes sense. Like, this is your reward.
Well, this is also like life's funny way of telling me that my journey's just begun. Like, everything happened for a reason up until this point in time, time to realize what you're capable of. Now,
yeah. And now you gotta take it as it comes, because that's just how life is, and your purpose, your path that you're walking. I mean,
roll with life on life's terms.
Yeah. What happens when you let go of control? And that's what happens, It's like, okay, we're gonna go this way. Okay, well, I'm gonna go this way, and I feel like when you're able to do, it's almost being free. Being actually allowing and understanding. I feel like you probably have more of a understanding than some can ever get as close to freedom. And this is someone looking from outside, looking in, and seeing it's just like, wow, it's an epiphany, it's an evolution that I've seen in you, and it's an amazing that you're sharing that, because like it makes me grateful to have come into path with you, obviously, but
someone tells me that we're not done yet. Like,
oh yeah, yes, yeah, exactly.
There'll be other things.
Yes. I'm always like, this is not the last time you're meeting my show, so, because
can't get rid of the bitch.
Exactly. But it's I always, just like you said, everyone comes into your life for a reason, and whether or not you know what that reason is, and especially at that moment, sometimes we don't know.
You're not, so it could be years later.
Yeah, exactly. And there was no way I was losing you. I was like, oh, you better, like, I know it was just one night we hung out. Well, 2 days. And, what was it? No, was it 2? I don't know. Anyway, but all I know is, I think it was probably 2, but, because I remember Sunday Funday. But other than that, it was just like, I just knew, like, when you meet people, it's just like, I feel like
that connection.
Yeah, it's like that, it's that connection, once you click, and you are good to go. And so it's just like, it's an amazing thing. So, and in chemistry, because I was talking to someone yesterday about that too, about just chemistry. And it's not an easy thing to gain when two people are not open.
Right.
You have to really be open to it. And life has so many crazy things in the journey when you meet these individuals that give you something. But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought.
Speaking along those lines, like, I think it's funny, like, that connection, like, and sometimes that can happen when you least expect it. Like, let's say you're in a random encounter with someone, and that connection's there, and how most people think that that's, like, meant to be love, and that we're meant to be, and then they run from it. Like, why? Why are you taking it to that level?
Right. Just let it be whatever it is to be, And that's again with expectations, misunderstanding of what maybe a blessing could be. Meeting people, you never know what they're here to bring. So why mess it up by trying to assume? We were talking about assumptions earlier. And so, and that destroys so much. And I mean, all of us are guilty because we all assume things. Sometimes we don't think good things last. Sometimes we feel like we deserve the worst. I don't know why we get that mentality, just because I think we accept that we look at our life and we see it like, does anything get good? I feel like everything just falls down. But, it takes an outside source to look at your life and be like, I saw a blessing through that failure. You got up. I mean, look at you now. You're here. And I just feel like we kind of mess up a lot of things because we have that assumption. We always have that assumption, like, just like you said, they got a great vibe and we click. And I'm in love. I think that's gonna be my soulmate. Oh my God, we're getting married. And it's like, whoa, I didn't mean it that way. I wanted to show you love, but not that kind of love, And it's and again, like in the media, it is portrayed that way. It's like, this is just like what happened in the movie. It's like, oh my god, I found my. It's like my leg went up when I kissed him on the cheek. It's like, okay.
Oh shit.
It's really crazy, but I think again it goes down to that almost the expectation, and stop trying to paint it the way you think it should look and just allow things to be natural, because I think it's hard for people to accept that it's foreign, like you even said, like foreign, feeling the love from others, way back when. I feel like even for me, I get it's a little weird too, whereas like I'm used to being the giver, and let's say I date somebody and they show a little bit of, I freak out. I'm like, I close myself off and I ghost, and what happened? What did it's like you didn't do anything. I know that's the cliche to say, but I haven't given you the opportunity to understand where I'm coming from, and that's of course my fault because assuming that they won't understand, or assuming that they're going to judge me, or assuming, versus giving that chance. And that's something that I have been challenging myself and practicing on. Shut up with assuming and actually talk, because I'm a listener. I've always been a listener. I don't talk. Like, I know I'm talking a lot right now. But I can't talk to a lot of people though. It's like
You.
I know, and everyone's like, "Your people." So I am, but I listen first. I observe to see how I can communicate. I learn your language, and then I'm like, okay, so that's how I'm maybe able to talk to them. Okay,
That's how I am, and I think that's where you have an intense energy, because like it's like a good ice like. Go ahead, sorry.
No, yes, no, exactly, because it is like exactly what you were saying. Like you kind of like that body language. You kind of know like, oh, you're fake, but it's it's like and I read people, and I can do that too, but I don't. I read the body language. Just like you were saying. It's like because you were like, you talk to everybody. I'm like, well, I kind of watch and observe. I observe, like, okay, their body language, what they're talking about. So I know we probably can't talk about an in-depth thing. Maybe they're very materialistic, so we'll talk about materialistic things. Or they're scratching the surface and they kind of want to go dive deeper, but they don't know how. And I love diving deep when it comes to intellectual mentality stuff. So it's like, well, have you thought about this? Wow. Sometimes it just needs someone just to scratch the surface for a lot of us to break open the barrier to that. There's just so much to gain from mentality and intuition and spiritual. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot inside, but you have to break that barrier
to find your authentic self. Like, it's like to also, when it comes down to being happy, like, we're conditioned to believe that in order to be happy, we have to have X, Y, and Z. Like, and it's all materialistic shit. Like, and that is not, that does not define happiness. Like, and, I don't know, for me to find true happiness, like, I had to practice gratitude, every single day.
Yes! I guess like that is right.
I love gratitude, like,
yes.
And that was a deep appreciation that came from my drug use, and, like, having walked those depths of hell, like, I walk out that motherfucking front door, and the first thing I think about is, like, that sun feels good on my face.
Right.
Like, I love that smell in the air. It's like a goosebumps. Like, and I'm grateful for that. Like, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be taking that step. Like, I'm grateful for all the little things that, like, most people aren't even aware of. Like, and it sucks. And it's like, to have had nothing multiple times, and to reach a point in my life where it literally took my own little 1-bedroom guest house in a yard to realize that's all I need to be happy.
Yeah.
And the happiness that comes from that is, like, never ending. That's all I need. Like, I don't need a car. I don't need this. I don't need that. I just need a yard.
Exactly. Yeah.
And somewhere to find dead plants. Like,
you planted a tree, and that's huge when you think about it. When you because I like to think of things as universal. So when you think of universal, you can make a purpose to it. I can make a purpose to it. Someone else looks at it, can bring a purpose to it. It's very universal. So when you say you planted a tree, that's big,
I
because
planted a dead tree.
exactly. But you brought it back to life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, I get chills when I think about that, because it's just, I'm writing a poem.
I mean, but I know exactly what you're saying, because like that literally can just go off in so many different ways. And like, you know, in the day that came, that like, you know, I literally pushed that yard sale off for weeks because I was scared. I was freaking out, because that whole yard, that was me. Like I invested, you know, and like I said, like it saved me. Like, cause I mean, there were some low times when I let those people, you know, just put me down so much that, you know, you start to believe it. And it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And I forget who it was who I was saying something. They were like, shut up. They're like, do you hear yourself right now? Like, are you saying that you're letting them get to you? And I said, fuck you. Like, no.
It takes those people to do that, though. We need people like that.
Tough
that
love.
can call
Wake
it
up.
out. Yeah. And I like having assholes as for friends, because they're not scared to tell me. You know, I don't need you to pat me on the back and say, it's okay. I need you to tell me, like, so what are you going to do now? Like, what do you mean? I need you to pity me. Like, you're doing that all by yourself. What are you going to do now? So what you going to do? You going to make a decision? What? What's the next thing? Come on, let's go. You know, and that's the way to be. And I see that leaving your garden behind or whatnot. Some of it.
Well, I know. I was like, Dad.
Because I saw that video. You went boom, boom. And I was like, oh, it's like an earthquake. It's like a next chapter. You close one chapter and now you're walking into the new one.
Yeah.
It could be a chapter, or it could even be a dang book.
Well, no, with any good book, you know, each chapter only gets better. Yeah. It's more suspenseful. Yeah. It's more anticipating. And like that, you know, the whole book thing, like I've used that one multiple times. Like, but the best part about ending that chapter was that day to make, you know, I'd been so scared of that moment, which is weird because I don't know what I was so afraid of. Yeah. But like,
because you do it, you have done it.
You recreate, you know,
I think you're in a different mindset though.
Yeah, it was all very different. But like it, you know, to make just a couple posts on Facebook that like the wave of people who came to my house, I was not prepared for, but like it was everything that they had to say, who they were as people, and it was just like, it was the most beautiful moment of my entire 2 years in that floor. And I met more good people that day. Wow. And then I did the 2 years, and it was just like, I was so taken back because like every single person that came in was like, said the same thing. Like, you are in. It was just, it was a very beautiful, very surreal moment. And it was like, everybody just knew that I was a part of that. They're like, we can just see that, like, you know, how much of you is in here and what you've done. Like, and it was just, and all the little dead things that I, you know, and to be around people who could recognize that. Like, and it was just, it was a beautiful day. And I had feared that day for so long, and that was the best day I've had there in Florida. And like,
It takes special people to do that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. But I love when people start asking me for advice. I'm like, now listen, I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not, are you prepared for this? Like,
right.
Because I mean, that's the only advice that's ever worked for me is that tough love. When somebody just smacked me in the back of the head and said, you know, get off the pity pot, you know, stand up, accept it for what it is, acceptance.
Yes.
That life is not trying to bring you down. Mm-hmm. Life is trying to teach you something, build you up, make you stronger, make you smarter. Like, so instead of saying, why me? You know, why me? Be grateful.
I can't stand the pity party. That is a part of me. I'm just like, if you're gonna call me and you're looking for someone to feel sorry for you, I am not the one. The only time is when you lose a loved one. That's the only time you're gonna feel a grasp of just like, it will get better, and don't let their legacy die. That's all I can say. Because I think sometimes we get tired of people saying I'm sorry. When we lose a loved one or whatnot. But
just get old.
It's
it's
lost
like I
value
can
a long
only
time ago.
imagine. It's like I'm, if you're a prayer, I'll pray for your strength and pray that it gets better. And just. Just don't allow their legacy to die. I like to say different things. I guess it's like because I think about it in my mind because I know how I am when I lose someone. I'm not the nicest person. I really am, and I let people know it. Why you had to be like that? I'm like, why you ask me why? That's just how I handle the pain. I mean, you can't question. Should I question you on how you handle your pain? Exactly. You don't like it, huh? So don't tell me how to deal with my pain. I am sorry. On my life, you have your life. To live. So that's just. I was like, just stay with me. If I lose anybody very, very close, I just need my moment to deal with it. And then because I don't want to say anything. Because for me, I sometimes can bottle up emotions. And when that happens, a bomb goes off.
Yeah.
And so you may come trying to, show me affection. Like, so are you okay? Like, I don't know what we'll say. I don't know what I'll say. I honestly don't. I might attack you. I may say some hurtful things. I don't know. And I don't mean to. It's just like, get the F away from me. And I don't want you near me. Don't! Like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll go away. Why are you so mean? Like, I warned you, but...
You don't listen, ever.
I did not know about this book.
The Trials and Tribulations of the Gay Redneck from Missouri.
Is that what you're calling it?
That's what I'm calling it. And so, just to clarify, I know that the word redneck isn't the most endearing, but I have my own meaning and definition behind redneck, and even my friends from back home, they don't like it when I am on Facebook say I'm the gay redneck. It's like,
so what is your definition?
To me, first off, redneck comes from being bent over and that sunburn on the back of the neck. We're out there, to me, it means we're hardworking. I'm not afraid to work. We're self-sufficient. Like my greenhouse.
Yeah.
We can make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Resourceful.
Yeah.
Extremely resourceful.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, unified. Because if something happens, all the gathering, one person needs something and you've got a team ready to go, and they're just all there, and and that's why if anybody needs me, I'm just ready to go, and that's, I think there's a lot of good things. Could I live back in that town now? Absolutely not. But I can be grateful for the attributes that I gained from that place, and I'm glad that I came from there.
Yeah.
Good morals and values.
Yeah. And then for those who maybe be going through something similar can actually look up to you or look at it as an example, I can become more. I'm going through maybe a similar situation of coming out and I don't understand it, don't want it because this is the wrong place to come out to or whatnot. And then looking at you like, wow, I could be like that.
See, and that's, yeah, exactly. And it, at this age in time, all my traumas, all those turmoils, all those horrible moments, I thought, why me? Those are without a doubt life's greatest gifts. Those, I'm so blessed because of all that. I truly am. Because we said, the stuff that I gained from that is stuff that money can't be bought. And this is stuff that most people will never have.
Yeah.
And, so that's just priceless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if to anybody that's in those moments that just feel like it's unfair, or just know that this isn't the end.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be the end.
Yeah.
This is building you up to your beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you think this, just hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
And so, and then to have going through all that, if anything bad happens now, I'm just okay.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I just brush through it. It's no big deal. And everybody else is like, how are you handling this fine? Well, shit.
Yeah.
I've been through way worse. So it's all about the mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. I just recently wrote a script and there's a phrase I put in. I said there's nothing is there's always something. Because let's say if you said, "Oh, it's nothing," and it's like, well, no, it is something, because if it was nothing, you would have never given it life.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so
I like
we think about, like just like you said, people think it's the end, but that's just the beginning. There's something that's gonna come out of that thing that you think is, this is nothing. I'm nothing. Like, oh, I'm nothing. Like, oh, you just don't even know what you're capable of. And I'm grateful that I do have that eye of seeing potential in individuals. I see their potential, who they become. At the beginning of that gift, that was not a bad gift, but I did not embrace it because I was too busy trying to change people and trying, like, you can do it. You know, no, this is what you can do, but that's not my journey. That's their journey, and they have to discover that for their own. And all I can do is encourage and give a word of encouragement and give them their space, because overbearing sometimes is not always the best.
No. All you can do is be that light. Give them something to focus on.
Like, how's it going?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't call me and complain. I'm not down with complaining, But yeah. So what would be a few words of encouragement for those that have the thought of even meth being negative, or in a time of their life that have just been suffering? They don't have that love foundation at home. Maybe someone who's been through not so much of a parent not giving them that much love, whether it's brothers or whether it's family. Because when the first thing that comes to your mind of family, you think of, oh, that's love. As your first sign of love is your family, is what we're conditioned to believe. And like I said this yesterday to somebody, I was saying, family is not always blood. It could be your closest friend who's like your brother or sister or whatnot. Even if they could be your father, a father figure out there, a mother figure. It's not always blood. But for anybody who's came from just like a dark beginning, what would be some words that you would tell them, knowing, you are a light.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny that you just said that whole blood thing. That's the one thing that I always go to. My blood family is in Missouri, but I came back home to Phoenix because this is where my chosen family is. My chosen family who love and support me, and no matter what, they've been through all the thick and thin shit with me, and they're still just here. And that's why I came back here. And we're all here for a reason. You are worthy. You are loved. And I don't sometimes hard lay up. There's that could be a whole nother, I don't know, just you are everything you're not. And
I love that.
Don't let society convince you otherwise. If you're a good person, be a good person. Don't let
And don't compare.
I know.
Please don't compare
We're individuals for a reason.
Yeah.
If
I'm not like him, I'm not good enough. No. Just you are your own individual. Yeah.
We all, and we all live life a different way, and yet here we are side by side. So surely we've done something right.
Right. I'd like to think so.
I fucking hope so. I've got just as much to gain from you as you've got to gain from me. And so
yes.
It's a beautiful, it really, the world is beautiful. Even though it may not seem like it at times.
But it takes individuals like us that can bring that light out.
We are God's warrior for a better tomorrow.
Tell the truth. God loves the gays.
I know, God, And that's just the other thing. It's I've always told my kids, it's just when the world crashes and burns, you're gonna be the only one standing, and you're gonna have a lot of people relying on you. So just persevere, baby.
Yes. Yes.
God.
Now, any questions for me?
I know too much.
I'm so grateful that you've taken the time. It's kind of funny to think, even just a little bit, you just said home. is here in Arizona. It's kind of fun because and you said your chosen family. Just the 2 years that I lived in Arizona, I have created a family via where I'm at right now. But it's like this is my family. And it's crazy that you said. I was like, yeah, Phoenix is. I have a home to come to if I wanted to come back over here. It's like they've been trying. But it's irreplaceable. It's unbreakable, and it's I'm so grateful, and it's amazing just for me to think just 2 years I gained a family, and you're one of them. So I am so grateful. Like even when I talk about you, it's funny. Oh my God, Shane! Like I haven't met anyone like you, because the thing is that I'm such an in-depth person, and meeting people is a blessing to me. I love meeting people, feeling their different vibes, and yours was nothing's measured to you. And I love everyone's is individual. Like everybody in my life are individuals. I don't measure anyone alike at all. Because they're like, well, who's the best? Who's this one number one? Like I don't categorize people. Right. You are who you are to me. Period. This person has a different connection to me than you. That's it. But you guys are all so special to me. I couldn't have my life without you. And so I just love that. I always love the hype, the electric connection we've always had. It's like I see you, it's like, oh, I got to touch it, get her.
I was about to get you ready. I was like, okay, just calm down. Because anybody else was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yes. Like, why are they so? What is going on over there? It's like, and you don't meet a lot of people like that, because I feel like you're a blessing. I don't think I know that, and just. When fire sees another fire, I guess, and it's ecstatic, and you can't kind of tame it down. It's just like it's hard to explain. I'll write about it.
But like to be okay, so like to be a person into a room, make yourself known. Do something stupid, something crazy that's gonna be seen weird. So then you automatically take the pressure. You take that pressure away. You take it all on yourself. And like, okay, what now? And then you owned it. And then it's like, moving forward, it's just so much easier for them, for me, and everybody else. Like, if people realize that, you know, and I love that reaction.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing people's face, like, what the fuck? What did you just do?
That night, the guy that I was on a date with, he was like, who is that? But he actually liked it. He was just like, I want to meet people because he was gravitated to me because of my energy, and he's like, you met someone like almost like you guys was like, how do you do that and not explode? Like, oh, we did explode. You didn't feel that? It's like we're a bomb. It is what it is. But it's an amazing. It's just amazing, and I'm so blessed to be able to have that connection and to be able to call it out and to tell you, and you're very aware of it. And it's wonderful.
Very
if you have anybody like that in your life, hold on to them. Hold on to them, because rare. It's very rare.
Very rare.
So I'm grateful. So thank you again so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad I could be here.
Yes. We were going to do Zoom first, so it was meant to be in person.
It would have bad time though.
Yes.
I would have been so hopeful and optimistic.
Don't look at me.
So maybe we should wait just a little
bit. Yeah, and it was good. I'm glad we did, because here we are.
See, this is much better in person.
Yeah. So happy.
Love you.
I love you too. I'm so happy. Thank you so much, though.
We're gonna do some good things. I feel like there's more. There's gonna be more to come. I've got a feeling.
Yeah. Oh, and that gut feeling is never fails.
Trust that intuition. Trust yourself.
Yes, you have to.
You have to.
You really do.
When you get those goosebumps, that is a sign that you're doing something right.
That's like a confirmation. I feel like it's like, ooh, I just got chills. Or even, deja vu is like, I always say deja vu, when you get it, you are where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to be, it's like, why do I feel like I've seen this already? Oh, it's destiny. You're supposed to be here. But anyways, thank you for listening and watching. My friend Shane here, and this is not the last time you'll see. Yes! And that completes today's Talk About It Tuesday episode on Nacho's Cafe. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, when you run into a mental wall of personal perspective, talk about it.